Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wish there was a positive thing to talk about right now, but there is not. So, over in the Middle East, basically, Syria had shot a bunch of missiles toward Israel, and one of them actually landed pretty close to one of Israel's undercover nuclear reactor. So Israel was able to shoot down most of them, but some did get through, and they retaliated with a airstrike. So this is from the Jerusalem Exchange or Jerusalem Post. I'm sorry. They exchanged missile attacks earlier today, this morning, after Damascus launched an advanced surface to air missile that landed near the nuclear reactor in Israel. Syria fired missiles in response to what they claim was an Israeli Air Force bombing near Damascus. Now, there's a lot of Iranian forces that are in Syria, and Israel says, that they're targeting the places where the Iranians are held up. Because ultimately, they can't just invade Syria because Syria has Russian troops in it. So that would really escalate tensions in that area. Basically, and Israel does this all the time. Anytime they feel it's a credible threat, that the Iranians are there and they bring in missile systems, and they do. They bring in weaponry and they bring in missile systems. So the Israelis go in and strike. This particular missile they used, it's called a S-1-5. Feel free to look it up. And yes, it is a surface to air. Anyways, so Israel tried using the Patriot missile system, and it did get most of them. But it's not a perfect science when it comes to the Patriot missile defense system. If you're not familiar with it, it's a big battery of missiles. So I think it's got three, six, a dozen different missiles. And if a missile's coming in, this thing shoots them out of the sky. The beautiful thing is that they have a bunch of them surrounding their entire border, and they strategically relocate them every so, I don't know, a week or a week and a half, whatever. So they become very difficult to target from their adversaries. So it's pretty smart, but is it 100% effective? No, not at all. However, they were able to shoot down most, but they're also saying that the Syrians weren't even necessarily aiming for that nuclear facility. And I'm not going to lie, those types of missiles, they might not be the most accurate, but I also don't believe in coincidence, and the fact that it hit pretty close to there is slightly can more than obviously can coincidental. Yeah. Anyway, so they basically, the Israelis targeted a bunch of, like, what the Syrians call, like, neighborhoods and whatnot, but that may or may not be true. A lot of the missiles, they say, were actually launched by Iraq or launched in Iraq. Again, with the amount of BS and counter intel that these countries throw out, there's no telling. All it says is that the IDF went in and had to bomb some people. And look, guys, I am not for war. I am strongly against it, as a matter of fact. And I served in Iraq. I was there, but granted, I wasn't kicking indoors or anything like that. And, it was what it was, but I won't get into the specifics of that. But yeah, war is not good in any way, shape, or form. So anyways, the Israelis did a bunch of airstrikes and took out a bunch of what they deemed to be credible targets. So after the missile strikes from Israel, that was pretty much it. So that's the skinny there. Now, where it comes into play in the financial markets is that oil has pretty much been maintaining around that, 50, 56, range in terms of where it's been sitting at for the most part. Let me just verify that just so I'm not throwing out too much BS. But essentially, they sort of need it to hold right in the range that it's at for it to even be profitable. But if there's anything that happens, that as I mentioned earlier in my last stream, it's going to send it skyrocketing. And now we have what could become a provocation to escalate the situation in the Middle East. That would be bad on so many fronts. You're talking about military industrial complex hopping in there, making billions, creating wars. You got Israel at odds with, I don't know how many countries: Syria, Iraq. What's the other one? Oh, Iran, who's aspiring to be a nuclear player in this world that we live in. And I love Persians. I have many Persian friends, okay? But they moved out of Iran because because they moved out. It wasn't a good place for them to be, needless to say. So, them having nukes or wanting to have nukes, and then they're having these cyber attacks that they're claiming is coming from Iran. It's just, it's heating up to a different kind of level. And hopefully it peters off and nothing happens. But that's certainly a provocation. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it. Because, like I said, if this thing heats up, then we're going to see some major implications in the oil markets. And there's quite a few plays that, if need be, will have to be made. Have to make some moves. You got everything from the mid-sized drillers to the big drillers to the oil field service companies, and a couple other avenues as well that you could take if this pops off. I hate making reactionary trades off of news reports, but I'm keeping a close eye on this. And even if it's a quick day trade and nothing happens of it, and I make 10% off of it, then so be it. Anyways, if anything comes up on this end, I will definitely bring it up, bring it to your attention. So please, by all means, show me a little love. Subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell notification. Anyways, guys, much love, and I will talk to you later.